Come on. Come on. You ever find yourself in the moment where little things you do to your room make it feel amazing? Yeah, that may be a weird intro how I did that, but I had a really cool thing in mind now. I don't know if that's actually going to look cool. I'll know about it, y'all will already see it, but yeah, so good morning everyone. Welcome to another one of these just kind of sit down vlogs, aka kind of updates. I wanted to kind of do a quick I want to show you guys what I've been doing to my room lately. As you do know, I did move quite a while back. Moved a little bit ago. Oh, this chair's really low. Moved in with some of my best friends, so I've been doing some work around my room, making my space, hopefully maybe a better space to start doing sit-down videos more frequently with. But I also wanted to talk about, I had a really kind of an interesting story that actually relates to an airline that we flew with when we went back to Texas. But I wanted to show you guys just quickly kind of around my room really quick to show you kind of what I've been working on, and then we'll talk about the very much crazy story of Frontier Airlines, because I still to this day, it's been over a month now, still to this day I still can't get over it. So now transition you guys onto the handheld. What I actually done was I actually have my window right here, which it's a great window, breathes a lot of light, but as you can see, it really background lights everything. But if you hear squeaking, that's Blakely. It's being himself. So I kind of wanted to give you an update on how my room's going, what my plans are for my room, and we'll talk about Frontier Airlines because kind of still not happy about what happened. So living in Orlando, you kind of tend to have options of mostly just apartments, not very much like renting a home or anything. So I'm in an apartment with 4 people. There's 4 of us living here. No big deal. But you kind of walk in. I made this little space with that. I've got my shoes. All my shoes are up here because I keep getting too lazy. But you turn. Now, this is the first view. Actually, really what the first view I see is coming in is here. You can see Blakely's trying to get his bone. So I still have this whole wall bare. Now I've got plenty of things I have set up. I've still got these 2 things I need to put up. What I'm really happy is this wall. See, I got these 2 floating shelves, got my pins up. You can see that poster right there, which actually is a gift from Kayla. It's gonna go right there. Now this one's gonna go somewhere else. But as you can see, I've got my Skyliner stuff. I've got a puzzle, and I'm gonna take that goofy one, put it right there, and then I want to make another puzzle and put that there. But then kind of quickly just looking at my bookshelf, which is still some memorabilia stuff. You can see I've got old Epcot tickets, old parking tram, my name on some things from way back in the day, my 2 cups, my box that actually goes with the Steamboat Willie, pop vinyl. What I am pretty proud of is, ignore the TV because I'm just watching some old videos. I'm watching a video from one of my favorite YouTubers. But you can see I've got my desk area. See Blakely's trying to chew at everything. So you kind of remember way back I had an old video showing like how I set up my desk and everything. It's kind of very similar to that, only now I've got this little extra side table. At some point I'm going to get a big desk to go here. And I think I'm actually going to get rid of this TV, get a smaller TV to then put up on the wall. But Blakely's getting very annoyed with me because I took away his squeaky bone. But then you also have my bike right there. So still got a lot of room to go. I still got a lot of things to put up. But you can tell you what, whenever you got nothing to do and you spend the time making your room your own, it really helps with that. So I do know you guys are really here for one thing. You're here for what is, what people say is the tea. The tea. And really, it's more of a story time. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm actually going to put you guys back on that tripod. We're actually going to talk about it really quickly before heading out. Alright. There you guys are settled back down. Probably going to get Blakely in the way because he's very much in the way. But so, kind of a quick story. So, in November, as you guys saw by one of the videos where I went, the quick update back to Texas, where I went back home to visit some family. I actually went back home with Kayla as well. A lot of you don't know, Kayla is my new girlfriend. She hasn't been on the video very much. She doesn't like being on video as much right now. Maybe sooner or later we'll get her to a point where she'll want to get on the video. But we'd actually gone back home, and we flew with a different airline than I'm used to. Used to usually flying Southwest. Southwest is my preferred travel if I'm going to be traveling back to Texas, because it's not that it's cheaper, it's just more reliable. Also, when you fly back to Texas, it's kind of the central hub of everything. But so we flew Frontier. The trip to Texas was not that bad. It actually wasn't as bad as what people make it out to be. Seats weren't the seats weren't that comfortable. You were kind of crammed in like sardines. But they were really pushing the mask, so I will give them credit for that. They were really pushing the mask thing. They actually made a couple people change what mask they were wearing, because some of them weren't wearing the proper mask. But what do you have? But one of the things about it was it was not very comfortable. Like, it wasn't that great. I honestly, just that alone would have not made me want to travel with them again. It was just, at the time, it was the cheapest flight home. They were running a good deal, so it's like, you know what, I can't really pass up on a deal like that. Well, coming home, we were supposed to fly in the Sunday before Thanksgiving. And we get to the airport. Our flight's not till super late. I think it was not supposed to take off till probably around 6 to 7. So we got to the airport really early, because Kayla needs a little extra, because we had to take a little extra time, because Kayla has a service dog with her, so we have to take that. We had to take that into consideration of, you know, more time and more time to make sure we get there, and had plenty of time for it. We needed a little more extra time to make sure we could take care of that. Well, we get there and they start loading us pretty early. They temperature screen you as you go on. This is where it gets kind of weird. As I will say this right now, as someone who lives in Central Florida, for someone who does live in Central Florida, who goes to these theme parks quite frequently, I do know things that there are mechanical things that people, like, rides break down, things happen. I understand that. I'm used to that kind of stuff. Like, I am fully aware. But the thing about this was, so we get on the airplane, we start taxiing out. They almost pulled off to the side before getting to the runway at MCO, and we sit there for a good 25 minutes before anyone comes up and says that there's a possible issue. So apparently they were waiting to see if the issue would resolve itself, and it wasn't. So we had to be taken back to the gate. Now it's about 8 o'clock now. It's actually about 9 o'clock at this point. We were supposed to already be halfway there, supposed to be landing in Orlando about 11. Now they're saying we're not going to get there until probably about midnight. They take us back to the gate. They tell us to stay seated for the time being. And they tell us to stay seated for the time being, and they're going to look at it, see if it's something they can fix right away, or is it something that they're going to have to do some repair. So they have us stay there. The captain relays that information to us. This part is not what I'm upset about. With Frontier, the captain was really good. About every 5 to 10 minutes, he was letting us know what's going on. He even told us, I'll give you an update in about 15 to 20 minutes. In about 10 minutes, he gave us an update saying he's still waiting to hear back. He apologized for the delay. The flight attendants were amazing. But then the part comes where he says, so here's the deal, everyone. We're going to have everyone get off the plane because they have to do some work. It's going to be more than 30 minutes worth of work. Okay, now we're about an hour and a half delayed at this point, and they tell us to go back into the terminal. So we go back into the terminal. Kayla has to take her service dog to the bathroom. So we find the place in the bathroom. We go back to the gate and we wait. Wait about 45 minutes, and all of a sudden they come back with an announcement saying that we are going to be reboarding the plane. And so then they start getting ready to board us. Now we're on the air jet going back to the plane. We get there, we're like maybe the 6th or 7th group on the plane, and all of a sudden we're standing there. We stand there for 5 minutes, and they finally tell us, oh yeah, no, you got to go back off. Well, apparently there were still more issues with the plane. They didn't want us on the plane, and they didn't get it cleared. And actually before they let us on, they told us that because it was an issue with the bathrooms, that there's like no water pressure for the bathrooms. And before we got onto the air jet, they told us, make sure you go to the bathroom. There will be no flight. There will be no bathroom services. It was no big deal, but apparently no one signed off on it even though they started loading us on. Well, okay, so at this point, we get off the plane, about 15 minutes goes by, all of a sudden they make an announcement that our flight has been canceled for the night. Now, this was the last flight out on Frontier that night. Alright, now at this point, I'm calling my parents, I'm letting them know, I'm letting my friends here know who were watching Blakely at the time, letting them know about what's going on, and they're like, you know, and they tell us just to kind of be patient, they tell us to be patient, hang out, and they're working on getting us a flight. Now, I didn't know this at the time, but reading up on canceled Frontier flights, I've seen, my mom and me both said that we saw horror stories about people being stuck somewhere for 3 extra days while Frontier had to completely rework a flight. Now, 3 days wouldn't have worked. I actually had to miss an extra day of work. Kayla had to miss an extra day of work. And so that really kind of put us in a pickle. And so about an hour in, they give us information for a flight that's actually going to be direct flight the next morning about 8 a.m. Good. Okay. It's about 9:30, 10 o'clock now. And they all of a sudden tell us that, oh, come on, if you're not, so we didn't want to go all the way back to Fort Worth. It's about a 45-minute drive. There's no point for us to leave that early, like to leave and then go back. Now, keep a side note in that, because there's going to be, this is where it gets real rough. So I end up going up to put our names on for a hotel, for a reservation to stay at a hotel overnight, thinking they're going to put us one of the hotels super close, because that's what we assumed. Well, put our names on there. It takes them about 45 minutes to start handing out the first rooms. Now I get it, it takes a while. Well, we sit there. About an hour goes by. We're not upset. We understand things happen. Hour and a half goes by. Still nothing. Like I said, we got our flight information, same seats, no worries, no nothing really changed. Just the flight will be at 8 a.m., not at night like it was before. Well, 2 hours gets in, and now I'm starting to wonder what's going on, because now I'm starting to see people get their hotel rooms, and now it's about 11 o'clock. You know, the airport's closed, there's no place to eat, there's no food, and we're still waiting on our hotel. Well, I finally decided to call because I finally go up and talk to them, and they're not answering any questions. I now see at this point, because we kind of were watching it, the gate agent has stopped answering any questions. People were getting upset. We tried not to get upset, but you know, we've been waiting 2 hours. We've been at this airport for almost 6 hours at this point, and we started seeing people getting in their rooms who were behind us in the line to put our names on the list to get a hotel room. Now I'm starting to get annoyed. So I go up and ask them, I said, hey, do we have an idea when mine will be coming up? Because I said, you're trying to get people theirs who are behind me. And none of them answered me at all. None of them answered. They wouldn't tell me oh, we just missed it. Oh, we're having an issue because you have a service animal. Oh, no, just nothing. They refused to answer, and they just told me to be patient, but in a very, I wouldn't say angered voice. I know they're stressed. I know they had a lot of things going on, but I just wanted to know why was ours taking the longest. Kayla's service dog hadn't had any food because we were expected to be home, because her dog was fed before we left, so that she would have enough food before getting back to Orlando. And about 2 hours, 15 minutes, it's about 15 minutes after this, I called the line for Frontier, just wanted to put a complaint in, because now no one's answering. At this point, I kind of start pushing a little bit, and I just start kind of getting upset, start telling them about what's going on, and I'm just like, hey, I don't know what's going on, and this is where it gets weird. 2 hours, 15 minutes, and they tell me that I have a room, number and reservation number to use to go to the hotel. But when I would go up to the gate agent, they would tell me that I don't have one, I needed to go sit back down and wait until I'm called. finally, literally me and Kayla are the last people on, like, waiting for a room at this point. And I don't know, I even asked them outright, and then we asked, is there a shuttle to the hotel? And they said, no, just Uber. We're like, but we don't want to pay for an Uber. Do you have a shuttle? What are we going to do about that? They're like, well, just Uber and then send us a message. We'll send you money back for it. So Kayla pays for Uber. At this point, it's been 3 hours. It's midnight now. And we had to be back at the airport at 6 in the morning for our flight. By the time we get to the room, get checked in and everything, it's going to be almost time to get back up, and we're barely getting only a couple hours of sleep. So very annoyed, very upset. And so, still no one was answering anything. No one answered any of our questions and stuff like that. And so we finally go out, we get an Uber, get our bags. And the only thing else was about it is it took 3 hours. So our bags were just sitting there. Like, our bags were just sitting, waiting. And like, anyone could have just walked up and taken it. Honestly, anyone could have just walked up to that bag and just taken that bag and gone off on their business with our stuff. And Frontier didn't have anyone out there watching it. They wouldn't do anything about trying to do all the stuff outside the gate. They just stopped talking. The gate agent stopped talking. So we get our Uber, we get back to the hotel. We get to the hotel. The hotel is about 15 minutes away, so it's not as bad as having to go back all the way home. But me and Kayla made the realization that if we just called family and had them come pick us up, we could have been home before 11 and at least slept until probably about 5. Get ourselves 6 hours of sleep. But so we get back the next morning, we get on the flight. Well, we're getting ready to get on the flight. So I call them. Well, let me refit. Before we get to this, while we were settling into the room for the night, at like 1:30 in the morning, I get an email stating that they're going to give us a $50 credit for the room, or for the flight being canceled and the thing they put us under. I found that insulting, because then I called them in the morning. I said, your $50 credit is not fair. You made me sit there for 3 hours waiting for a room, and you made me wait for people who were after me to get a room. You let people who complained get their room before us. I didn't realize that that's how the customer service thing worked with Frontier. And I know it's Frontier. I know it is. But I call and I'm like, I'm really dissatisfied with the customer service, and no one could give me an answer. So I call, I tell them what's going on, I just want to know if there's anything they can do. They're like, we can't do anything. I said, can I have the $50 back, because I had to pay for a bag. We had to pay for a bag and a carry-on item. Can I have that $50 just recredited back to my account? They're like, no, we can't do that. I said, can I have a refund for my service? They're like, well, if you want a refund, you're not gonna get on the flight. I said, so you're telling me I'm not gonna get on the flight to ask for a refund, even though you guys have given me bad guest service? And I just tell them, like, I'm very tired, very cranky, very upset with the situation. And I'm still doing battle with them, if you want to be 100% honest. And the other reason that Kayla was on this flight originally, because we would have paid for Southwest, was because she got free tickets from Frontier for a very similar situation, and it was a free ticket for her. I had to pay for it. And so I'm still in battles with that. They've never paid Kayla back for the Uber like they said they would. And just overall, it just made it such a horrible experience. Like I said, the captain and the flight attendant, the crew were good. Those gate agents, though, just shut up the second that they wouldn't even like give us an idea of, like, oh, you're on the list. Oh wait, that's weird. I noticed you were behind them. Why are you not getting your? It was the fact that we were one of the first ones in line, and we were one of the last ones to get our tickets or our reservation. And it really displaced a lot of people for the time being. So yeah, let's just put it this way: Frontier, if anyone, y'all should all tag Frontier in this, because Frontier sucks. Absolutely horrible guest service. Didn't even give me legitimate answers to anything. To this day, they still email me saying that, well, you still took the flight, so we can't refund you. I said, well, is there any way I can have the $50? Can I have the $40 credited back for my checked bag, my checked bag, and the $40 for my for my carry-on item, and they said no, because you already took the flight. And then I said, well, is there anything gonna be done about the gate agents over there that night? They're like, we can't disclose that information, you know, because it is company policy, which I understand. But I mean, the level of just no guest service was one of the worst things I've seen. And I've seen some bad guest services, but man, Frontier sucks. Honest to God, Frontier sucks. And I would recommend you guys never fly with them either. So I just really wanted to tell you guys that, because I'm still doing battle with them. I still haven't heard back from them yet to this day. Every time I do hear from them, they said, oh, well, your claim's being processed, but you still took the flight, so you're probably not going to get your money back. And so I'm just going to keep fighting it until I can. See if maybe down the road they can figure something out with that, because I'm just... Oh, and the fun part about that $50 credit, you had to use it within 90 days. You'd use it within a flight within 90 days. Like, what? Like, what? So, yeah. So, I would just say, you know, don't fly Frontier. And it was kind of a weird video to kind of end close with that, but I was like, I was just trying something different. I may be laughing, but I'm still very upset about this. So, but with all that being said, I do head out from this very upset video on Frontier Airlines. I will see y'all next time.